All right, we are live. Hey there, how is it going? Lee Hayward here with the Total Fitness Bodybuilding video chats. So make sure this is coming through loud and clear, that you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. Awesome. I think this is coming through. Just let me check a few things on my end, make sure. I want to do an audio video check as always to see if this is coming through loud and clear. Okay, let me see. So the way these chats work is I'm going to be doing a Q&A. So I mean, anything that you would like to discuss with regards to fitness, nutrition, any strategies that you're dealing with when it comes, or you need help with when it comes to burning that body fat, building lean muscle, getting yourself back in shape. Feel free to post those questions, topics of discussion, anything at all in our video chat window, and I'll do the best I can to help you out. So we have Rob joining in. We've got Aiden joining in. Hey guys, I've got a diamond in the rough is the username. It's coming through loud and clear. Great, awesome. All right, so today has been a very busy week for me. I've been running a Lose Your Gut Challenge. And so I know several of you have probably participated in the one that I did a couple months ago. This one was bigger than ever. Had a lot of active participation. So this week, I've been flat out with the whole Lose Your Gut Challenge. That's why there hasn't been a lot of things outside of that. Because for those of you who, if you're not familiar with how this works, it's basically a 5-day intensive training where we really dive in deep and cover different aspects of nutrition and helping you to master your metabolism and escape the whole yo-yo dieting trap. So we started off with 165 people. All right, that's a fair number of people in a private group. And each day there was accountability tasks. So this isn't just something that you sit in the sidelines and watch passively. Each day you have to actively participate and do your accountability tasks, do your homework, if you will, in order to stay in the challenge. If you don't complete the tasks, you get booted out of the challenge. So we started off with 165 people, and by the end of the challenge, we're down to under 100. So a good chunk of them got the boot out of the challenge, right? And that's the way I like to do this, because it forces you as in the participants, to actively take action and to do what ultimately is going to help you to get yourself in shape. Because so many people watch videos, read books, read articles. They're in this process of gathering information, but they don't actually do anything with it. And all the information in the world without implementation is useless, right? You don't need another book. You don't need another diet plan. You don't need another workout program. What you need is to actually get off your ass and do something. If you want to get yourself in shape, you need to start taking action. That's the thing that's going to move the needle forward, not getting bogged down in the details and this whole analysis by paralysis, thinking, well, once I figure out the best workout, then I'm going to start taking action. Or once I figure out the best diet, then I'm going to follow it. And once I have my schedule perfect and the stars are all aligned in the sky and the heavens above, then I'm going to start taking action. No, you just have to take action now, right? It's never going to be perfect. Never, right? And I was chatting to some people throughout the challenge, for example, and they're like, well, after the holidays, then I'm going to be taking action. Guess what? If you wait till after the holidays, you're going to be fatter and worse off than you are now before you even start taking action. So it's like you're let me fail some more before I start making progress. Like, man, it's the wrong attitude. Like, just start now where you are. Start now and take it from there. Right? The bottom line, anyway. That's where we're to. So that's where I've been all week. I've been flat out with that, and I enjoy it. It's a passion project of mine. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I love to help people, and this is just kind of a continuation on with that now. So today, let's jump in there, do some Q&A, and who else we got joining in? We got Stewart's joining, Gregory's joining, Shanto, Kane. Awesome, guys. Looking forward to having a chat with you today. Okay, just going to close out some things here on my end. All right, we're good. First question. Let's see. Please make a video for post-workout stretches. Is it important? I have a video series. It's actually a playlist that covers post-workout stretches that you can do for all your major muscle groups. It's a playlist that I put together several years ago, but it's still just as applicable today as it was back then. Go to the main Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel, open up the playlists, and just go through the playlist series, and you'll see one there. It's a bodybuilding stretching routine or something like that, or even just do a YouTube search for Lee Hayward stretching. You'll find them. But there's videos there. There's videos for back, legs, arms, shoulders, chest, all your major muscle groups. So literally what you can do is after you've trained a particular body part, you can follow that video to stretch out those muscles that you just trained. So it's all broken down into a playlist and categorized by different major muscle groups. So it's already done, my friend. Just have to go search for it. Do we need to cut salt? All right, this one's from Kane. No, I actually have videos about sodium as well, but the bottom line, I'll do a quick summary of it right here. Salt is one of those misunderstood things. Like if you talk to the average doctor or the, I don't even know if that's the case anymore, because I think like a lot of doctors nowadays will probably even be smarter than that. But the average person thinks that salt is bad because they've been brainwashed by the media to think that salt is bad. And food companies use the whole low sodium label just to help sell more food. It's a marketing ploy. It does, like, sodium is essential to your health. If you cut out all sodium, i.e. salt is basically the best source of sodium that we have. Like, if you were to cut that out of your diet, you would die. It's essential for life. You need it. It's an electrolyte. It helps every process in your body. It helps the nerve impulses. It helps your body function. If you have zero salt in your system, you die, right? It's critical. So where the whole misconception comes in, like people think, oh, salt is going to cause water retention and it's going to cause all these problems and high blood pressure. No, it's not the salt. What it usually is, it's not drinking enough water. Because the way the body works is once you consume salt and you're drinking adequate water, your body is going to utilize what it needs and flush out the rest. Utilize what it needs and flush out the rest. So you really, if you're drinking enough water, you're not going to have too much sodium in your body. It's because it will flush it out. And for those of you who are active, you're going to the gym, you're doing cardio, you're playing sports, or you're doing anything physical and you're sweating, guess what? In your sweat, you are losing a lot of sodium and other electrolytes, and you need to replenish them. If you don't replenish them, that's when you start feeling, first of all, you can get muscle cramps, you can feel weakness, lightheadedness, dizziness. A lot of times when people are losing a lot of electrolytes, they feel flat and depleted, and they think, well, oh, I need to eat more carbohydrates or something like that. A lot of times it's lack of sodium is causing all these things. So sodium is one of these misunderstood parts of nutrition, and I purposely add salt to my food, right? I don't cut it out. I purposely add it. So I will salt my food, and I just use, like, you could use table salt, sea salt, pink Himalayan salt, like whatever salt you fancy. You can even use high sodium condiments like soy sauce, pickles, like dill pickles are very high in sodium. And I mean, it's low in calories, and it just adds a nice crunch to snack on. But I purposely add salt because where I'm eating a lot of natural unprocessed foods, there's no salt added to those foods. So I have to purposely add it. Now, if you're eating, like the average person's eating all processed junk, there's always going to be a lot of salt already in it. You know, like if you look at the label of canned foods and processed foods and things like that, you know, they're already packed in salt. So you probably don't need to add extra salt in that case. But if you're eating your fruits and your veggies and, you know, or natural meats and fish and things like that, there's no salt added to that. So you need to add some salt in there to bump it up and get the amount that you need to function properly. And again, if you are one of these guys who is constantly trying to avoid salt, just by bumping up your salt intake and having a healthy level, you will feel stronger. You will have better muscle fullness. You'll get better pumps in the gym. You'll have more strength and energy. And it can happen like instantly. Like I'm telling you right now, if you can notice it like within a single workout, right? Increase your sodium one day, and you can literally feel the effects for your very next workout. It's something that can happen that fast because sodium enters and exits your body very rapidly, right? It's absorbed very rapidly, and again, your body flushes it out very rapidly. It's not something that you need to build up for days or weeks or anything like that. It can happen very quickly. All right, let's see what else we got. Gregory is joining us. What is your view on Mike Mentzer's high intensity training style compared to regular training? I'm a fan of Mike Mentzer. I mean, back in the day, I read a lot of his stuff. I was a fan of it. But at the same time, I don't train that way myself. Now, I like studying people and studying the different philosophies and stuff like that. And there are certain aspects of it that I do agree with, but there are certain things that I'm not a huge fan of. And there's different variations of it because, like, if you study like some of Mike Mentzer's programs, like I have some of his old VHS tapes that I had from back in the day where he was going over it. And some of the stuff he took to the extremes, in my opinion, especially the whole overtraining. Like if you're not making progress, it's because you're overtraining and you need to give yourself more recovery time. And they were getting down to like, oh, well, start off working out 3 days a week. And if you hit a plateau, we'll cut back to 2 days a week. And if you hit a plateau, cut back to 1 day a week. And if you hit a plateau, we'll cut back to working out every 10 days. And like, that doesn't make any sense. Like right. So certain things like that, I wasn't a fan of, right? Your body needs regular exercise. Like thinking that you're going to exercise less and get better results doesn't really make a lot of sense. But the whole idea of optimizing your recovery, stimulating the muscle, pushing it through progressive overload, all that kind of stuff, I definitely do agree with. And that kind of correlates to a lot of mainstream workout programs. But it's like a lot of things. Like you can push the limits of something and kind of make it take what has some merit and push it to the absurd, right? Like again, like the whole idea of like 3 high intensity workouts a week, that's usually what he would start people with. That makes a lot of sense, you know? And of course, high intensity is relative to the individual, right? Like someone who's overweight and out of shape and just starting off, their level of high intensity is totally different than someone who's an elite athlete high intensity. So, take it all, in proportion and relative to the individual. But I'm a fan of that and the progressive overload. But some of the stuff that he was going on with, especially later on, I thought, man, this is too far out. Like the whole idea of cutting back your workout frequency to ridiculously low volume. I'm not a fan of that. I would rather you train more frequently. Like myself, I'm a big fan of 3 workouts a week. I just through my own training, through coaching numerous people, I find that is a good frequency for a lot of people. I'm not saying it's perfect or for everyone, but for a lot of people who are looking to just get in shape, lose body fat, improve their muscle definition, and feel healthier and stronger without having to dedicate their life to living in the gym, I find 3 workouts a week is a good frequency to stick with. Anyway, we can go on and on talking about that, but let us move on. What do we have? Team Muscle Darts. Hi, sir. I'm Asian, weight 160 pounds, but I want to get big. I'm doing bro splits and taking Tribulus. Any advice, sir? It will really help me. Thank you. All right. I mean, I appreciate that information. Obviously, okay, you want to gain weight. I'm doing bro splits. And I'm going to assume English is probably not your first language just based on that, but I have a ton of respect for you. I mean, like people who can communicate in other languages, I tip my hat to you. If I had a hat, I would tip it to you because I feel so lazy, the fact that I can only speak English. And I'm speaking to some people, when I'm chatting and talking to people, online and stuff. And they sometimes apologize because they say, well, please excuse my English. And I'm like, man, your English is phenomenal. Like, that's all I can speak. And here you are speaking multiple languages. And so anyway, Mr. Team Muscle Dart, you want to get big, you're doing bro splits and you're taking Tribulus. They're so like, where do we start, right? There's honestly, I would need to know a lot more information to really help you with that, because it's very basic. But what I would suggest, if you would like some help with a good solid, like, just cover the fundamentals of how to start with a bodybuilding workout and nutrition program, I've got a free PDF report that you can download. It's called The 3 Keys to Building Muscle. It's a 51-page PDF report, and it covers training, nutrition, and mindset, the 3 keys that you need for building muscle. Just head on over to my website, leehayward.com, and you can download a copy of that, and that will lay the foundation for you right there. Now, after you go through that, if you have any specific questions, or you want help with, customizing your training, customizing your nutrition, and making this fit into your lifestyle, then, hey, send me a message and we can discuss it afterwards. But you need that foundation first, right? Like, I can't just spend the next hour, talking about the fundamentals of training, nutrition, and mindset. Like, I want to really help you with some specific questions here over this video chat. So go download that first, and then we can chat afterwards. So again, it's The 3 Keys to Building Muscle. Download it at leehayward.com. Stuart's joining us. He says, hi, help lose weight is okay. Stop eating after, let's say, 7 p.m. as I want to bulk up. All right, I got to read that one again. Hi, help lose weight is okay. Stop eating after, let's say, 7 p.m. as I want to bulk up. I'm confused. I'm seeing lose weight and bulk up in the same question. And eating after. I'm sorry, if you want, Stuart, like, please clarify what you're trying to ask me in the question. I really don't know how to answer that, because I don't know what you're asking. Okay, I watch all your videos. Very good. Okay, appreciate the support. Okay. Azim is joining us. Azim's a regular to the video chats. He tunes in every week. He says, Lee, I was thinking about getting protein through meat, dairy on alternate days. Do you think it's an appropriate approach? Bottom line, as long as you get adequate protein, it really doesn't matter whether you get it on alternate days or I'm actually a little confused on that question. I'm thinking about getting protein through meat and dairy on alternate days. So do you mean like you're only going to eat protein every other day? Like, in order to ideally build muscle and to provide your body with the nutrients it needs, you want to be consistent with your nutrition every day. Like, dieting every other day, or say like, okay, I'm going to eat a healthy diet today and I'm not going to eat a healthy diet tomorrow. I'm going to get my protein intake today, but I'm not going to get it tomorrow. I personally wouldn't do it. I'd rather you have a balanced approach and a more consistent approach on a, day in, day out. That's what I would personally do. Now, again, if you want to elaborate on your question, like what it is you're actually trying to do, feel free to post it in the chat. But think of day in, day out consistency, not this, like, I'm going to eat well one day and I'm not going to eat well the next. Like, okay, the next question here. This is Octo, or Octan2. OCANTU. Hi, Lee. Can you make a beginner weight training workout without squats and deadlifts? I have one already up on the YouTube channel. Just go to the main YouTube channel, and right there there's a playlist with beginner workouts. The very first one there is a beginner total body workout. There are no squats, there are no deadlifts, and in fact, I wouldn't recommend those exercises for a true beginner anyway, because they are very advanced exercises. But go check that out. It's already there. There's a workout video for beginners to help you get started. Okay, what should I do if I, sorry, what should I, if I ever can? I don't know. Are people you guys must be messing with me. Like, everybody's just putting in some crazy questions here just to try and jerk my chain here. So anyway, I don't know what the heck that is. This is George, and George's question is, what should I, if I ever can? Anyway, I hope you're having fun. All right, so and our friend, our 160-pound Asian friend says he's going to go download the program. Awesome. Yep, download the 3 keys to building muscle. That will lay the foundation for you. And then if you do have any questions afterwards, feel free to send me an email and we can just chat about it and discuss it after. So confusing, the questions. My God, I agree. That one's from Paul. We have a, again, I'm wondering now if it's just people jerking around, because see, there's people who tune into these video chats and they know I'm pretty much going to answer whatever you post into that chat window. So I'm kind of making myself vulnerable right now. They know pretty much whatever I post on Lee's chat, he's going to cover it. So I think people are having fun here. And of course, maybe there are some people who are, obviously, like I mentioned before, English is not their main language and they're trying to ask questions, but they probably just can't get the words out. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Another question. Says Lee, before I started weight training, I was 120 pounds. Now, within 1 year of training in the gym, I'm 160 pounds, but I still want to get big and do whatever it takes. Thanks. From Ron. That is huge progress. And honestly, if you're like a teenager in your newbie gain phase, that it's impressive as heck, but it doesn't surprise me, because I was very similar to that when I started training. In fact, this week, if you follow me on Facebook, I posted up a throwback Thursday pic. In fact, I even posted it on YouTube as well in the community tab. I was digging through a photo album the other day, and I found my very first muscle picture, my very first progress picture that I ever took. And it was me back in 1994 when I was 16 years old and trying to stand like a bodybuilder and pose. And that was the first picture that I ever took. And you got to realize, like, back then, there were no cell phones. There were no digital cameras. So taking pictures wasn't something you did very often. Like, I actually had to get my dad to take out his 35 millimeter camera. And he was like, "You want me to do what?" I said, "I want you to take a picture of me posing in my underwear." And he was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" Like, you got to remember, this is back in the day before nobody knew what a selfie was. And there was none of this taking pictures of yourself in the buff and posting them on the internet and showing how jacked you are. Like, my dad was questioning what the heck I was doing. Like, "You want me to take a picture of you with my camera in your underwear? Like, are you crazy?" But I said, "No, I want you to do this so I can track my progress," because I read it in a book, in a bodybuilding book back then, that you should be taking progress pictures, right? So I said, "I want to take a progress picture." And he said, "Okay." And of course, we had to then bring that to the photo lab, to get it developed. So, I mean, God knows whoever was at the photo lab is there. Jesus, this man's got a picture of his son in his underwear here. Like, right? Things have changed. Things have changed, right? This was back in the day. So anyway, I did find that picture and I posted it up there. But that was back when I was 16 years old, after 4 years of training. And I mean, back then, you can make fast gains when you are a teenager and your body is primed for growth. Like, everyone who goes through puberty gets bigger and stronger, regardless if you lift weights or not. But if you combine lifting weights and you eat even a half decent diet, it doesn't have to be perfect, but I mean, you're eating anything half decent, you can make incredible gains as long as you're consistent. And that's what I did. So, I mean, I actually, when I look back at it, had fairly decent muscle development, especially considering I'm only 16 years old. But getting back to your question here, so in the first year of training now, you've put on 40 pounds of body weight, which is huge. I mean, you're definitely on the right track. And I can tell that that's coming from, obviously your body is primed for growth at this stage of the game, and you've been consistent. So again, good for you. Why I like Lee's channel: because he makes it simple and functional and doesn't overcomplicate nutrition and exercise. That's from Paul. I appreciate that, Paul. Thank you much. Let's see what else. Saul is joining us. How long should I stick with the same weights? I slowly moved up to 20 pounds and 75 pounds on the bench press. 20-pound dumbbells and then 75 pounds on the bench press. This is something you should be striving to increase on a regular basis. And there's not really a timeline. But when you get to the point where the weights that you're lifting, you can complete whatever sets and reps and exercises that you're doing with good form by yourself, no help from a spotter, and you say, it feels like you can increase the weight, then increase the weight. Like, ideally, this is something you should be striving to do on a regular basis. Now, the bigger exercises, your bench presses, the rows, squats, deadlifts, leg presses. Shoot, just a second, guys. Let the voicemail get that. The bigger exercises, like I was saying, the big compound moves, you are going to be able to make better gains in those than you will in the smaller isolation exercises. And it's just due to a percentage thing. Like, for example, it's easier to add 5 pounds to a 200-pound deadlift than it is to add 5 pounds to a 20-pound dumbbell curl, right? Just due to percentage, right? It's much easier to add weight to the bigger compound moves. So focus on those primarily, but still, whenever you feel that the weights you're lifting start to get easy, increase the weight. You constantly want to be challenging yourself, but don't be ridiculous about it. Don't get to the point where you're using sloppy form just for the sake of lifting heavier weight. Always focus on quality over quantity, but over the long term, like over the course of several weeks, several months, and of course a year, the weights should be increasing, right? If the weights are going up, then you're getting bigger and stronger, because a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle and vice versa. Okay, let's see. And we have George joining us. He says, any tips? I think someone's messing with me. I'm not even going to read that question. All right, Zohan is joining us. How do I check nutrition info for chicken breast that I got from the butchery nearby instead of a brand one like Costco? Chicken is chicken. Whether you buy your chicken from the butcher or you buy it from the grocery store or you buy it from Costco, as long as it's actual chicken, as in, like a chicken breast is chicken breast, right? It's the same thing. It doesn't matter. Now, the only exception is if you're talking about like some processed, pre-packaged deli meats or something like that. Now, that's different, because that can have preservatives and additives and flavors and whatever mixed in. But if you're actually just talking about chicken, as in, just the bird, right? That's the same. So what you do is if you don't have it doesn't have a nutrition label, like you buy a raw chicken at the store, there's no nutrition label on it, but you can go in on Google and just do a search for nutrition information for chicken breast or whatever. There's a site that I like to use. There's a lot of sites, but one that I like to use in particular is calorieking.com. And you can type in whatever food that you're interested in, and it'll give you the nutrition information. And the thing I like about calorieking.com is you can type in whether it's raw weight, cooked weight, and even like how it's cooked. So for example, like I might type in roasted chicken breast or grilled chicken breast, and it'll give me the nutrition information for a grilled chicken breast. And I can also go in there and type in raw chicken breast, and it'll give me the nutritional information for raw chicken breast. So whether you're weighing it raw or cooked or whatever, you can get the nutrition information and use that for helping to track your calories and your macros and things like that. But that's what you do for foods that don't have a nutrition label. You just look it up. Let's see what else we have. Okay. Damn, you were 17 when I was born. The time goes so fast. It is scaring me. It does. Time does go fast. And I think the older you get, the faster time goes. Like, it's crazy. When you're young, like, time can't go fast enough, right? Like, a year feels like forever. And then the older you get, it's just like where did a year go? Like, it's, you blink your eyes and a year's come and gone. It's crazy. Okay, let's see what else we got. Joseph saying, hey Lee, thanks for all the videos and content over the years. It's appreciated. Keep up the good work. Thank you, my friend. Glad you enjoy it. Any tips on how to incorporate whole milk in the diet? Also, how to incorporate cottage cheese? That's from Azim. First off, unless you are trying to gain weight, as in old school bulking, I would not recommend full fat dairy products like whole milk. In fact, honestly, I don't drink milk at all. Uh, I personally find milk is not an ideal bodybuilding food or drink, if you will, for a lot of people, because the problem with milk is there's a lot of lactose in it. There's more lactose in it than anything. There's more lactose than there is protein. And lactose is milk sugar, dairy sugar. And I'm not a big fan of that. I find that that can, depending on your digestion and everything else, it might cause you a bit of stomach upset. It might cause you bloating or whatever. It's not the ideal source of carbohydrates, lactose. I am a fan of dairy products, but not milk. So I'll eat like Greek yogurt, which is basically pure protein, right? It has very low lactose, very low in fat, because I get the fat-free variation. Or I might get cottage cheese, which is very similar. You know, it's similar nutritional profile as Greek yogurt, primarily protein, lower in lactose, low in fat. And if you get the fat-free one, then it's fat-free. Of course, I'll use whey protein, which is a dairy product as well. But again, that's isolated protein without the fat and lactose. So I do consume dairy protein, but I'm not a fan of milk. Right? I find milk, it just doesn't sit well with me. It kind of makes me feel bloated and gassy if I drink a lot of milk. But then at the same time, I can enjoy Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and protein powder in moderation. And I find that that sits very well with me. And I like it because it can add a lot of variety to your diet. So in my case, like, I'll just give you some examples of how I would use that. Well, first of all, like cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, very quick and convenient source of protein. Right. So, I mean, if you're having a snack where you want to kind of bump up the protein for a meal, you can have it there. Like one of my go-tos that I like to have is have some like fresh fruit or berries or something like that, and put a couple dollops of fat-free Greek yogurt, mix it together. I mean, that's a nice, healthy, high-protein dessert that I'll very often have. So I might have my main meal, my meat, my veggies, and my carbohydrates. And then if I still want some dessert after, I might have some fruit or berries with some Greek yogurt mixed in. So I'm getting some more like a healthy dessert and an extra boost of protein as well. So little things like that is ways that you can bump up, your protein intake and utilize some dairy products there. I also like to use Greek yogurt in place of sour cream because it has a very similar taste and texture. So, for example, if you like putting sour cream on a baked potato, try putting fat-free Greek yogurt on a baked potato. It tastes very similar, gives you that creamy texture that you want, but again, fat-free, and it boosts up the protein content. You know, and pretty much for a lot of recipes, you could swap that out. I even use Greek yogurt as a salad dressing as well. Like if I'm mixing up a big garden salad, I'll probably put in like a 50-50 mix of salad dressing and Greek yogurt because, again, more protein, less fat, and just improves the nutritional profile. Okay, let's see what else we got there. John is joining in. Have you ever used a Swiss bar or football Olympic bar where grips are parallel or angled for the bench press and are good, or dumbbells are better if you're getting some shoulder irritation? Yes, I have used those funky bars. We have one at the Platinum Health and Fitness, the gym that I train at up in Conception Bay South. They have one of those bars that you use for bench press where you have all the different hand spacings. And it's just another variety, right? I mean, if you find the flat barbell, the straight barbell causes problems, because you're fixed in that rigid position, you might find using some of these different angled positions is more comfortable. So it's just another variety, just the same as, when you're, doing like you can use easy curl bar or a straight bar for bicep curls. You can use these different angled bars for bench press. So if you have it available, by all means, utilize it and give it a try. And it's not that one is right or wrong, better or worse. It really depends on you and your individual preference, right? When I'm doing like a dumbbell bench press, I typically try and hold the dumbbells on a slight angle because I find that just allows me to naturally tuck my elbows, take some of the rotation out of the shoulder, and it just feels more comfortable. So if you're using a barbell that has those handle attachments that are angled, you can naturally get into that position and do the same thing with a barbell. John's asking, how do you avoid getting the flu? How do you boost your immunity? Oh, man, that's, where do we start? Cleanliness, hygiene, washing your hands. Those are big things right there. Another one that would go a long way, eating your fruits and veggies and trying to live as healthy as possible, avoiding a lot of things that are toxic to the system. Alcohol is a big one for sure. Something that's going to kind of hinder your immune system. Trying to stay away from people who have the cold. But bottom line, I mean, it's something that you just try and live as healthy and clean of a lifestyle as you can. But everyone's going to get sick from time to time. I don't care who you are or what, how healthy you try to be. Like sooner or later, somebody's going to get the flu or a cold. And when it does happen, it sucks, but it's inevitable. I think everybody's going to get it from time to time. But bottom line, you just try and live as healthy as you can in general. Right? I mean, I'm always the basics: drinking lots of water, staying hydrated, making sure that every single meal contains fruits and vegetables, so I'm getting that natural nutrition, those natural vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in there. Simple things: making sure you wash your hands after you use the bathroom. Wash your hands after you work out at the gym. Like, as great as the gym is dirty. Like, this is another one. A little tip for you. Like, when I'm at the gym and working out, and let's just say I got to have a pee break halfway through, like, I will go into the washroom. I will wash my hands first, then I'll use the washroom, and then I'll wash my hands again after, and then resume the workout. Because you're grabbing all those dumbbells and barbells and machine handles, which are, I mean, it's dirty, right? It's filthy. And then if you're going in there and then you're, using the washroom, you're spreading all those germs around. So when I'm at the gym, I wash my hands a lot. Like, every time I go to the locker room, like every time when I finish a workout, I make sure first thing I do, I wash my hands, because, right, it is, even though it's great and it's, you need to do it for building muscle, the gym's a dirty spot. So you want to try and take precautions the best you can to keep yourself clean and to avoid those germs any way you can. What else we got here? Paul is saying cinnamon goes well with Greek yogurt. I don't think I've ever tried that before. I probably will give it a go. Thank you for sharing. Woodulos is joining. He says, I always get the time zone difference wrong. Yeah, we have switched to our fall back time, right? I don't know why in the world that we have this time zone difference. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, why not just keep the same time year round? I don't know why they've done that. I mean, I find it confuses people, and it's just, what's the point of having time zone differences? Like, you have the same 24 hours every day. Like, just why do you have to change it in the summer and the winter? It doesn't make sense. But anyway, let's see. Texas T is joining us. He says, should I isolate the ankle? Well, I don't know what the heck you're talking about there. I think this is one of those. I'll just read it out anyway. Should I isolate the ankle bone when doing single weighted 22-degree ankle Bulgarian split squats? Help. I can't help you with that one. I think you're just having a bit of fun there posting your questions. NK is joining us. Lee, I'm 23. I've been training for a year, and I'm already starting to feel slight joint pain around the knee and elbows. So I was wondering, what are your tips for longevity? I'm telling you one thing that there's a lot of things that can have an impact here, but I found having adequate rest time between workouts, lifting within your means, can make a huge difference. So I'm just going to throw some things that I've found very helpful. One thing that I do every single workout, I always start off with a good warm up and doing mobility exercises for the body parts that I'm going to train that day. So if it's if I'm training an upper body workout, I'm going to warm up the shoulders. I'm going to warm up the elbows. I'm going to make sure to do mobility exercises for those. If I'm training legs, I'm going to do some mobility exercises for the knees and the hips. That's in addition to a pre-workout cardio warm-up, just to elevate the core temperature. I find that that helps a lot. Another thing that's kind of neglected is recovery time. Like a lot of people just focus on recovery for the muscles, but you don't think about recovery for the joints. And I found since I've started to focus more on my 3 workouts a week and having that rest and recovery between workouts. So like I'll weight train one day, take the next day off, weight train, the following day, take the next day off. Having that full day of rest in between workouts, it not only allows your muscles to recover, but it allows your joints, tendons, and ligaments to recover as well, because that needs recovery time. Like a lot of people just think of muscle recovery, but joint recovery is a big one, and I find that that helps a lot. Another thing that I've been doing a lot lately is supplementing with collagen. I find collagen, again, knock on wood, it's helped to reduce a lot of the joint pain and aches that I've experienced. So it's something that I'll mix in, like I might mix it in with a blender smoothie, or if I'm having like a high protein oatmeal recipe, I might stir in a spoonful of it. But I find regularly consuming collagen has helped with my joints as well. So those are a couple things that I find very helpful. And of course, when you're working out, if there's any particular exercise that causes you pain or discomfort, don't do it. Find another exercise variation to do instead. Right? Not every exercise is ideal for everybody. So if something hurts, don't do it. Simple as that. Don't get hung up on the exercise. Focus on training the muscle, not getting hung up on the movements. And that applies to all major exercise. Like some people say, oh, you got to bench if you want to get big chest. Well, if the bench press causes you pain and discomfort, don't bench, right? Find another alternative instead. Or people say, oh, you got to squat if you want big legs. Well, if squats cause you pain and discomfort, you don't have to. You can find another variation instead. The main thing is working the muscle, not getting obsessed with the exercise. Does strenuous exercise reduce your immunity, or is it a myth? I don't think so. As long as you're recovering from that strenuous exercise, I think it can actually help you. But again, it all depends on the situation and, if you can recover from that strenuous exercise. Another question here. My question does not show up. I've tried 4 times. What's wrong? Well, I don't know, but this is showing up. So post your question again. That's from Edward. All right, I'm just going through the questions one by one. So, I mean, what's been posted is coming through. Obviously, what you just posted then came through. So try again. Brandon's joining us. Going to the gym. Only have 30 free to lift. What should I do? I guess you mean 30 minutes to lift. I would recommend the total body workout that I have on my main YouTube channel. That could be realistically done within 30 minutes. And you could modify it if needed. Like you could just reduce the sets or something like that if needed. But if there's a total body beginner's workout right on the main YouTube channel, that's a good place to start. William's joining us. Lee, how is... I don't know what that is. NNN. How's NNN going for you? Notice any significant strength gains? I don't know what NNN is. All right. Azim is joining us. He said, or he's always joining us every week. He's got a question again. Lee, I find that the GOVT do this time. Okay, due to the time zone change, get more working hours generally. Oh, he's talking about the time zones. All right. He says he doesn't support the whole daylight savings time thing either. I don't either. Philip's saying, same here. My question is not showing up. I have no idea why your questions are not showing up, because, obviously, whatever you're posting right now is showing up. Right? Blame it on YouTube, boys. Right? I didn't invent the video chat. I have no control over what YouTube allows to post or not post. So I'm just here participating and reading it out. Right? If you want to bitch and complain because your questions are not showing up, send a question to YouTube support. Edward is saying, do you block certain words? I do not block a darn thing. Whatever comes through. If there's any blocks on words, like a YouTube will usually do that. It's not me. Like if somebody is posting vulgarity or swearing or something like that, YouTube might block it, but I have no blocks set up on these chats. Anything goes. What training frequency do you feel is optimal? Personally, I work out 3 times a week, and I think for the majority of people, 3 times a week is a great plan to stick with. 3 times a week or every other day, however you want to structure it. If once you've been doing that for a while and you have a foundation laid, then you can experiment with different workout frequencies, but you can't optimize what you haven't standardized. So if you're not working out at all, anything is better than nothing. So just start doing something. Like, don't worry about, oh, well, I need to get the perfect workout program and the perfect split and the perfect exercise. Like, just do something. Like, seriously, I don't care what it is you do at the beginning. Like, anything is better than nothing. Once you have something, then we can always work on optimizing it. But you can't optimize nothing, right? So start with something and see how your body responds. Start getting some traction, some momentum, some results. And then we can always worry about optimizing it later on. But don't overcomplicate it. Just get your ass in the gym and start doing something. Right? Okay, what about the sauna? Good or bad? Some say it's eliminating water. It does eliminate water because you sit in a sauna and you sweat like a pig. Of course you're going to lose water sitting in a sauna. I'm not a big fan of the sauna simply because I don't have access to one. Like at the gym that I train at, we don't have a sauna. But if I go somewhere that, like if I'm traveling or whatever, and they do have a sauna, sometimes I'll utilize it, right? I mean, it can be relaxing after a workout, and it's nice sometimes, especially in the cold winter time, to get into a nice warm sauna. It just feels good. But from a practical point of view, like you don't need to use a sauna, right? I mean, if you enjoy it and it helps you to relax and everything else, then hey, absolutely use it, But like it's not going to help you build muscle or burn fat or anything like that, right? I mean, look at it as a form of relaxation, if you will, right? That's the way I would look at it. Now, of course, yes, you are going to sweat when you're in the sauna, so you want to rehydrate yourself. Obviously that's important, but there's nothing magical about a sauna that's going to improve your fitness. Could you do a video on the daily supplements you take with a breakdown? Sure, I could look into doing that. Southern Drums is asking, last week about pull-up hangs. What I meant was you activate your scapula at the beginning of the set and keep it activate the whole time, or do you come to a complete dead hang after each rep? I gotta consciously think about that. I don't purposely come to a dead hang and stop at the end of each rep, so I probably will keep the muscles, I guess, activated the whole time, because I try to keep a bit of cadence going when I do my pull-ups. But at the same time, I will go through a full range of motion and let my arms extend all the way down in the bottom. But I usually don't come to the point where I fully just relax and dead hang in the bottom of the pull-up, right? So hopefully that makes sense. But bottom line, do what works the best for you, because there's different ways to go about the exercises, right? Like some people like to focus on these pumping reps where they just kind of keep the body moving almost like a piston, like up and down, up and down, up and down. Other people like to lock out at the top, hold a dead stop at the bottom, lock out at the top, hold a dead stop at the bottom. It's not necessarily right or wrong. It's just a different way to go about it, right? And sometimes for different exercises, you may find like more of a pumping cadence works better. For others, you might like to lock it out in between. So, right, it's just different ways about accomplishing the same thing. All right. Brandon's joining us. John is asking, is collagen better than glucosamine, chondroitin, and MSM? I personally think it is. Like, I used to take glucosamine, chondroitin, and MSM supplements, and it was kind of hit or miss whether they did anything. But now I don't take them at all, and I'm just using collagen protein. And I honestly find that it's working better for me in terms of I don't have any joint pain right now, which is awesome. Like, I'm getting older and I have less joint pain. Now, there's a few reasons for that. one big one is I'm not doing anything crazy in the gym. Like, I'm not trying to lift beyond my means. I'm not trying to be the strongest guy in the gym. Like, I am quite happy and humble to just lift and do my thing. And if somebody else wants to lift and heavier than me and show me up, I like, go ahead, my friend. I have no problem, right? Like, I'll be doing my bench presses with 185 pounds or maybe 225, and I'm like, that's good for me. If some other person wants to come over and slap 3 plates aside on the barbell, I'm not going to try and keep up with you. I couldn't care less. I'm old enough now that I have zero ego when I go into the gym. I'm just going to do my thing, and I find that just lifting within my means has made a huge difference, right? Because I'm not, stressing the joints, the tendons and ligaments, and I'm not beating myself up. I'm in there, stimulating the body and not breaking it down, and I feel so much better by doing that. But again, back to your question, knock on wood, I think the whole the collagen has been working better for me because, like I say, I don't have any joint pain whatsoever at this stage of the game, and it feels really good to be able to move and do your thing and work out and not have any aches or pains, right? I'm very fortunate in that way. What the heck? I've never heard of this before. shows I'm out of the loop. Where was this? Was a question. Where was it now? Shit, I lost my place. Oh well, I'll just move on. I'm Edward's joining us. He says, eating before bed, is it bad? To me, when it is the most hungry. No, you can eat before bed. There's nothing magical about the clock and your eating. Like, I personally eat before bed every single night. If I go to bed on an empty stomach and hungry, I don't sleep well. I need to have something in my belly in order to sleep well. What matters the most, whether you're trying to be in a calorie surplus for muscle growth or you're trying to be in a calorie deficit for fat loss, is the overall average. It's not when you eat it. Like, regardless if you eat morning, noon, night, space it out throughout the day, or however or whenever you eat, it's the overall average that's going to matter. Like, if you eat too much in the morning, you can get fat. If you eat too much in the evening, you can get fat. The time doesn't matter. It's the fact that you're eating too much. That's what matters. If you're in a calorie deficit and you're eating it in the evening, it doesn't matter. You're still going to lose body fat. It's the average, right? So the timing, nutrition timing like that, it doesn't matter. So you can eat before bed. It's not bad. Like, that's a whole stupid myth. I don't know who started it or how it got started, but there was a thing going along for years in the fitness industry. It was like, oh, don't eat after 6 p.m. Like, your muscles don't have a clock. Like it's, your body doesn't know that it's 6 p.m. And it's not like, well, okay, I'm going to burn and utilize all the calories that I consume before 6 p.m. But at 6:01, these calories are going to be stored as body fat. Like, no, your body doesn't have a clock, and it just looks at energy in, energy out over the long term, right? If you're eating too much over the long term, guess what? You're going to get fat. If you're eating a calorie deficit over the long term, guess what? You're going to tap into burning stored body fat, and you're going to get leaner. Like, the body doesn't have, there's not alarm clocks built into your metabolism. What are your views on cutting and bulking phases? I personally find it better to be in a minute surplus year-round and to taper down if there's a special occasion. Honestly, it depends on your goal, right? Like, are you trying to get bigger? Are you trying to get leaner? Where are you, right? Are you a young guy trying to, get big and jacked? Are you an older guy who's trying to get lean and healthy? It depends on where you are. So I'm not a fan of bulking. Like, I personally do not bulk. I mean, and honestly, I don't even cut anymore. This is something that I really focused on during our whole 5-day Lose Your Gut challenge when I was sharing with everybody in the group. Like, back in the day when I was competing in bodybuilding, I used to go through these extremes. So I would have my extreme cutting phase, getting ready for a competition. And then in the off season, I would have my bulking phase where I was going to pack on muscle and in reality, it was just an excuse to eat junk and get fat. And I justified it by saying I'm bulking, right? I don't do any of that anymore. I don't cut. I don't bulk. I've mastered the in-between. And if you want to live a long, healthy, lean lifestyle, you have to master the in-between, not trying to go to the extremes of cutting or going to the extremes of bulking. Because when you go to the extremes, that's when things go wrong, right? Because like if you're on an extreme low-calorie cutting diet, yes, it can work for losing body fat, but it's not healthy, it's not maintainable, and it sets you up for a massive rebound, right? Because you're going to get deprived, you're going to give in to those temptations, and it just messes with you, right? If you're going on an extreme low carb, low calorie diet or something like that, you can only stick with that so long before you get fed up, you can't handle it anymore, and then you just binge and you go back to your old habits and you gain all the weight back again. Or vice versa. If you're on this, seafood, eat food, bulk up diet, and you're just piling back all kinds of food thinking that you're going to gain muscle and get bigger, all you're doing is you're getting fat. Like it is surprisingly small how much of a calorie surplus you need to build lean muscle. Like people think, oh, I need 1,000 calorie surplus, or I need, to be, whatever. I need to eat my 5,000 calories a day and blah, blah, blah in order to build muscle. No, like literally, if you're in like 100 or calorie a day surplus, that is enough to build muscle. In fact, I don't even recommend, for people who want to build muscle, I say train and diet just the same as if you're following a fat loss program, but just bump up the portion sizes so that your maintenance or a very, very small surplus, like I'm talking like 100, 200 calories a day surplus, that will allow you to make lean gains. Like if you just say, well, I want to bulk up, and you just slam an extra 1,000 calories a day into your diet, guess what's going to happen? Yeah, you're going to bulk up, but it's not going to be muscle mass. It's just going to be fat, right? So people blow that stuff out of proportion, and that's why so many people end up getting fat and overweight. Anyway, don't focus on the extremes of cutting or bulking. Master the in-between, right? That's what you want to master if you want to live a lean, healthy lifestyle and enjoy the process. Where are we to? I think I lost my place. Stuart saying it's 9 p.m. over in London. Well, thanks for tuning in. I'm going to get ready and clue it up very shortly, but we'll go on for another few minutes. Paul saying sometimes we need a routine rehab. That's what I do when for some reason don't work out for a few weeks. I like that quote. We can't optimize what we don't standardize. I'm glad you found that helpful, Paul. Where did I get that quote to? I'm not sure where I got that to now. I know I didn't invent it. I heard somebody else say it, but for the life of me now, I can't remember where it was, whether it was I read it in a book or might have been. Anyway, but that really stuck with me. You can't optimize what you don't standardize, because so many people, and I'm going to just do a little rant on this now. I get questions all the time. People saying, what's the best workout? What's the best diet? What's the best thing? Should I do high reps or low reps? Should I do high carbs or low carbs? Or should I do, high intensity interval training, or should I do steady state cardio? Should I blah, blah? And they're just asking all these questions. And then I say, well, what are you doing right now? Nothing. Like, gentle God, just go to the gym. Like, don't make it any more complicated than that. I really don't care what you do when you get there. Just go to the gym. If you walked in, swiped your membership card, and walked on the treadmill for 5 minutes and then turned around and walked back out, like that would be better than doing nothing. Like build the habit of going to the gym, because that's the hardest part, right? Getting your ass off the chair and into the gym is the hardest part of working out. Master that. Let's make that a habit first. Once you have the habit of going to the gym, whatever it is, 3 days a week, or whatever you can structure into your plan, once that is a habit, once that is standardized, then we can worry about optimizing what you do when you get there. But don't worry about optimizing what's not even there, right? Like you're wasting your time and mental energy. It's not even worth it. Make it a habit first, then we can focus on improving it. And same thing with your diet. Like some people say, well, I need to know the perfect ratio of protein, carbohydrates, and fat, and I need to be able to count my macros, and I need to know my calories, and I need to know when I eat, should I eat 3 meals a day, or should I eat 4 meals a day? Should I intermittent fast? Should I follow keto? Should I do this? And I say, well, what are you doing now? Oh, I'm eating whatever I want. Like, why don't you just start by, cut out the junk food, right? Like, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure stuff out. Like, if you are looking at a bag of chips and you're looking at like an apple, okay, what's healthier? Should I eat the chips or should I eat the apple? I don't know, right? Or like, people make things so complicated. Like, it doesn't have to be as complicated as we make it. You can simplify it. Just focus on doing the simple things first, and then you can always optimize it as you go. Don't try and have the perfect program before you start. All right, move on. Do you think low carb diets are detrimental to building muscle? Personally, yeah. I'm not a fan of a low carb diet because it's not maintainable. I'm a big fan of a well-balanced diet. And ideally, what I would recommend is try and get a third of your calories from protein, a third of your calories from carbohydrates, and a third from fat. Now, it's not always going to work out that way perfectly each and every day, but it's something that you can strive for. And that's what I find works the best for the majority of people. When you have a well-balanced diet, it just makes you feel good in terms of, like, you're not suffering from any deficiencies or imbalances. Like, if you go super low carb, guess what? You start craving carbs like crazy, and it just drives your appetite and your hormones out of whack. If you go super low fat, after a little while, you're going to start craving fat, and it's just going to drive things out of whack. If you go super low protein, like with the whole plant-based, people saying, oh, you got to cut out all the animal protein. If you go super low protein, it drives things out of whack. Like, but if you have things in balance, in proportion, and you're eating natural, unprocessed foods, it's just like things just work, and you don't go through these extremes, ups and downs, and fluctuations. It's so much easier, and it feels healthy, and it's maintainable. All right, what else we got here? Where was I? Lost my place again. Which collagen do you use? I get my collagen powder from Costco. I can't remember the brand name it is, but it's whatever brand name that Costco carries. It's just a pure unflavored collagen powder. Okay. Should we eat every time we are hungry? That really depends, but it depends. How can I explain that? Like, no, you shouldn't eat every time you're hungry until you truly know your body, because I'm going to give you some examples. Sometimes when we're not familiar with how our body works, we may mistake sensations. Like, you may mistake the sensation of thirst for hunger. So especially if you're trying to lose body fat, and let's just say you have yourself on a semi-structured eating plan, like you're eating your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and you're eating natural, healthy, unprocessed foods, and then you just start to feel hungry mid-afternoon, right? Like, okay, you had your lunch a couple hours ago, and you're going to have your dinner, maybe in a couple hours time, and I'm just feeling hungry, right? What I'd recommend, have some water first. Just like that, a big tall glass of water. Don't just have to sip. Have yourself a big tall glass of water and wait on it. Let that sit in your belly for 10 or 20 minutes, and then wait and see. Because a lot of times, if you are slightly dehydrated, it may give you the same sensation of hunger when in reality you're just dehydrated. So I like to have some sort of an eating structure. I mean, it could be as simple as breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, it's as old as dirt, but it works, right? Have a nice solid eating structure and kind of stick to that. And then if you feel hungry in between those meals, like I say, drink water between and see how you feel. But don't just give in, because this is one of the problems why people are overweight and obese, is because we're constantly being triggered by outside things that spike our appetite when we're truly not hungry. And I'll give you an example. Like everywhere you go, you're being triggered. Like you watch advertisements, whether they're on TV or billboards or anywhere, and you're constantly seeing junk food and these stimulus, right? It's gotten to the point now, like you go to the gas station, which back in the old days, the gas station was a place where you went to buy gas for your car and you went to get stuff and supplies for your car. Now you go in there and it's just a stock house for junk food. Like there's more junk food in a gas station than there is things for your car, right? Like I'm just thinking like the gas station over the road, which I'm using the term loosely, they have a little tiny shelf in the back of the building, which has like oil and windshield wash and engine coolant, and a little tiny shelf, probably not even much bigger than my desk here. And then the rest of the store is full of chips and crisps and cakes and donuts and chocolate bars and soda pop and beer and just like that's the gas station. I'm like, so everywhere you go, you are being bombarded with triggers and stimulus to eat and eat and eat. Like you even go to the hardware store, like you have to go down right before the checkout, they have this stupid aisle that's lined on both sides with chips and candies and chocolate bars and soda pop, and you've got to walk down that aisle before you can even get to the checkout to ring your stuff in. And this is the hardware store where you're going to buy hammer and nails and boards, and like everywhere you go, you are being bombarded with stimulus to eat junk food, eat crap. So a lot of times, if you're feeling hungry, it's probably not due to the fact that you're physically hungry. It could be all this external stimulus, and it's just triggering your appetite out of whack. Like, so I wouldn't recommend just giving in every time you feel hungry and just eat something, because the way our brains are skewed now with so much external stimulation, it's probably not accurate feedback that you're getting. But if you feel truly hungry, as in now you're lightheaded, you're dizzy, and all this kind of stuff, like low blood sugar, well, yeah, then you don't want to let yourself get to that point. But again, if you're eating consistent, again, you're 3 squares a day and probably a snack before you go to bed, you're not going to get to that extreme where you feel lightheaded and dizzy and all that stuff. Anyway, good question though. Good question. Someone's asking about 6 p.m. eating after 6 p.m. It's a crock of BS. Again, like I mentioned, your body doesn't have a clock, right? It doesn't say, oh, I'm going to burn fat before 6 p.m. and I'm going to store fat after 6 p.m. No, it doesn't work that way. Let's see. Did you mountain bike on a regular basis while weight training? If so, did you worry about that maybe it would interfere with your muscle building? No, absolutely not. I still mountain bike on a regular basis, and all growing up, I was a huge fan of bike riding, and it does not hinder muscle building. In fact, it can help with muscle building. The only time that it's going to hinder building muscle is if you're doing it to extremes, or if you're not, I guess, like, how can I break that down? Like, a lot of it has to do with genetics as well. Like, sometimes we look at people who are like elite cyclists, right? And you look at like someone who races, say, like a Tour de France type of cycling event. They're going to be lean and skinny, partially because they're genetically inclined to be that way. Like, not everybody has the physical body to be able to do something as extreme as Tour de France, right? You have to be in that genetic category to even be qualified to do that event. Like, I'd never be able to do that event, even though I've been riding a bicycle ever since I was a child, and I still love to ride bicycle. I would never physically be able to do that type of event because I just genetically don't have it. I'm too big, and I'm not genetically built for a long distance endurance cyclist. So when you see people who are at the elite level, it can kind of skew you because you think, well, oh, gee, if I do a lot of biking, then I'm going to look like that. No, it's not. That's not the way it works. They have the body first, and that's why they can do the cycling, right? It's not like the cycling made them have that body. To kind of switch it in reverse, like, let's look at a basketball player. And I look at basketball players in the NBA, and I say, whoa, look how tall those guys are. Man, if I played basketball, maybe I'd grow that tall as well. I should take up basketball. I'd love to be, 7 feet tall. Maybe if I played basketball, I would be as tall as them. No, they were that tall, and that's why they played basketball, right? So a lot of times we have this skewed idea thinking, if I do biking, I'm going to have a physique of, an elite level Tour de France cyclist. No, they had the body first, and that's why they can do the Tour de France. Because on the flip side, then you have other people who compete in cycling events, like maybe the short track races. And some of these guys are built like muscular and jacked, and they've got quads that just, are insane. And they're still doing biking, but they have a different type of physique, and they're doing a different type of cycling because that's what they're genetically built for, right? So don't go thinking because you see someone who's genetically suited to a particular sport that sport is what's caused them to have the body. A lot of times it's the other way around. They have the body. That's why they do the sport, just like with the basketball, right? I can play basketball all I like. It's not going to make me grow any taller, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Anyway, let's move on. Hello, do you think PSD is bad? I think it is. PSD. PSD. I'm probably having a brain fart, or I'm just being stupid. I don't know what a PSD is off the top of my head. I'm just going to do a quick Google search to see what a PSD is. So many freaking acronyms. Like, why can't people just... All right. PSD. What is PSD? I'm getting Adobe Photoshop. No, I don't think that's what you're referring to. PSD, PSD, what is it? A portable storage device? No, I don't think that's what you're referring to. I'm probably wasting time here. PSD Photoshop, PSD stands for, what does PSD stand? Prevention of sunlight, significant deterioration. Anyway, I wish I could help answer your question, but I don't know what you're asking. All right. Okay, Twilight Saga says, local trainer says we should stretch after each workout because muscles are not going to grow. Is it a myth? No, your muscles are still going to grow regardless if you stretch or not, but it can help with aiding with recovery, right? I mean, the trainer is right in that it's a good idea to stretch after your workouts. Now, however he worded it, might justify a bit more explanation, but you can still make progress even if you don't stretch after your workouts. But it's a good idea to stretch after a workout. I mean, that's why I made the stretching playlist. We discussed this back earlier in the beginning. Okay, what else we've got here? Talk a bit about insulin resistance, because not everyone understands it, and it triggers the appetite, and it can be mistaken for hunger until insulin gets to a more stable level. Yeah. All right, we're already gone over an hour, and that's well, let's say that's a topic for another day. All right, but you're absolutely right in that it's weird because the foods you eat, like if you eat foods that spike your blood sugar, can actually spike your appetite in the process, right? Like this is something, again, when we went through the 5-day challenge, I really went into detail talking about this. Certain foods will trigger your appetite, and certain foods will satiate your appetite. Like the big thing, like even just look at processed foods and unprocessed foods. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're eating cookies and you're eating chicken breasts. Like, could you eat 6 cookies? If I put like 6 chocolate chip cookies in front of you, could you eat a plate of 6 chocolate chip cookies? I would bet most of you physically could. You'd eat one, that would stimulate your appetite. You'd want another one, and you could easily polish off a plate of 6 cookies. Could you eat 6 chicken breasts? Probably not. Like, you'd eat one chicken breast and you're like, man, that's pretty filling. You'd eat a second chicken breast, you're like, man, I'm getting stuffed, right? If you force down a third chicken breast, you'd probably be like, man, I'm sick of chicken. I don't want to eat anymore. Like, Chicken fills you up. It's very satiating. It's very filling. Cookies do not. They spike your appetite. They spike you want to eat, make you want to eat more. However, on a calorie level, there's probably the same amount of calories in 6 cookies as it is in 6 chicken breasts. You eat the cookies, you're still hungry. Eat the chicken, you physically can't even eat it because it fills you up. Same thing with like vegetables. Like if I had a big bowl of potato chips, right, with the salt and the oil and then the fat and the flavoring or whatever, like a big bowl of Doritos, right, or something like that. And then I had a big bowl of kale salad, right? Could you eat the big bowl of potato chips? Probably yes, and you'd still maybe even hungry afterwards. Could you eat a great big bowl of kale salad? Probably not, because the kale salad would fill you up, right? Like you're not just going to sit and like endlessly munch kale leaves, right? Like you get satiated and full eating vegetables, but with potato chips, it's like the thing, you just can't eat one. You eat one and it spikes your appetite and makes you want to eat another one and another one. And processed food is designed that way. It's not by accident. Food companies spend thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars in research and development to create the ideal combination of text and taste and texture and taste and flavoring and all this stuff to make you want to eat more, right? It's scientifically engineered to make you consume it. They don't want you to get eating satiation from their food. They want you to eat more and more and more, because the more you eat, the more you buy and the more money they make, right? It's a consumption-based business model. Fruits and vegetables in their natural unprocessed state, they don't have that. Like you eat and you get what your body needs and then you're satiated, right? You just don't have the urge to just keep on eating like chicken breasts, or you don't have the urge to keep on eating kale leaves or anything like that. Like your body gets full up on natural unprocessed food. But when you eat the processed stuff, it stimulates your appetite, makes you want to eat more and more. And then, of course, it throws your blood sugar out of whack. And that's why people have eating disorders a lot of times, is because you're not eating the way your body is designed. So, yeah, I mean, that's a whole rant and roaring of it in of itself. But bottom line, if you want to improve your nutrition, focus on natural unprocessed foods over the processed stuff. You can't go wrong. All right, guys, I'm cluing it up now. We've been going for over an hour. I thoroughly enjoy these video chats with you every week, and I hope you do too. So thanks for the support. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I will have the replay of this video chat posted up within the next 24 hours with the timestamps. So if you like to go back and review them and jump to different questions or whatever, I'll have the timestamps there for you. And in the meantime, have yourself a fantastic weekend, and I look forward to doing another video chat with you next week. Take care. Over and out.